How are my favorite budding authors doing today? I hope you're doing great. Today, we are going to continue to work on the revision process. And as I've told you lots before, each day we're just going to take little bitty bits, and go back and work on our paper every day. We don't want it to be overwhelming where we spend hours and hours, just a few minutes each day going back and revisiting our story so that it can be the best story you've ever written. It should be the best story you've ever written because you're so much smarter than you were back in August when I first met you. You have such diverse vocabulary now. You have more tools in your toolbox to make your writing stronger. And so we're going to continue to work on those today. So today I'm starting out on slide 39, and it talks to us about how we can use a thesaurus, one of our tools we can add to our toolbox, to help you find that singular adjective or verb that does a better job of conveying the tone and feeling and emotions, right? When you say someone's feeling melancholy, it just paints a better, more sophisticated picture than saying they're sad, right? So we want to work today to help find those words. So if you look at our link down here, this is a live link. So you can click on it and it will take you to one of the tools that I happen to like a lot, which is a website entitled thesaurus.com. And what you can do up here is you can type in a word, right? So you can type in sad, and then you hit enter, and it gives you all these synonyms for sad, right? All these different ways to say sad. And then down here will also give you antonyms so that you maybe want to say that they were not pleasant, not joyful, right? Or you can use all these cool words up here. So this is a great, great resource to use in your writing. You don't want to go bonkers and use a thesaurus for every word because sometimes simple words are best. But here and there, you want to spice it up a little bit. So I just wanted to show that to you. Now we're back over here on slide 39. The other thing we're going to look at for today is on slide 40. There we go. So in continuing to look at revising our word choice. When writing, it's important to make conscious decisions of the words you use. When you revise a writing piece for word choice, you improve your word choices to make specific feelings or ideas expressed. Remember, we want our reader to understand how we felt at those moments in our story. So one thing that's important when writing a story is we're not riding a roller coaster that goes, right? We're not riding the monorail when we're writing this story. We're riding a roller coaster, right? So those emotions you have change. You should not have the same emotion at the beginning, middle, and the end of your story. Your emotions, your feelings should change in some way. I would love it if you had three different kind of feelings. You may have more. Two is okay. If you only have one, then we need to rework your story a little bit, okay? And see if we can how we can add a little bit more of that drama to the story, right? Most of the times I hate drama, but in a story, drama, that's where drama belongs, is in your stories, not in your everyday life, in your stories. All right, so I am going to move back and show you a little bit in my story how I'm going to mix things up, okay? So if we look here, I've already marked some of my words. You're going to need to read through yours and make some edits to pick some better vocabulary for your words, right? So here, I was walking in the woods on a cool fall afternoon. Well, I'm thinking to myself that brisk might be a better way to say cool, right? Brisk. It just kind of gives a little bit better picture here. Okay, so I'm going to switch that there to brisk. And I'm not going to read my whole story to you again because I know by now most of you actually probably are pretty close to doing it by heart, right? But um, so here I want to talk about my stomach began to turn. This goes back to that slide 40 where I had that feeling initially I was pretty calm, just having fun with my friends. And now I have turned to a little bit more of this scared feeling, right? So my immediately my stomach began to turn. So maybe I can work here to paint a little bit better picture for, I have no idea why that's blue, for my reader. So I'm going to say my stomach began to churn and, oh, good gravy. I made it blue again, guys. See, editing. It happens. We all mess up. And what? There we go. Apprehension built up inside of me like an overfilled balloon about to burst. I simply knew a snake was going to pop up at any moment, right? I had that churning, anxiety, anxious feeling in my stomach. I was getting really stressed out about it. I felt like a balloon that was about overfilled and it was just about to burst because I was waiting on that snake to pop its head up, right? Now I wish it was a snake, but nope. Okay, so I've added a little bit there just to enhance the feeling, to help my readers feel like they're part of the story, whether they want to be or not, with me. Okay. So we are going to move on to slide 34 and have two different places here that I've marked. So we'll do the easy one first. So one thing that I feel like when I was talking about the story with my sons was a little bit unclear was this part down here where I talk about twitching. So it says, however, I knew I could not simply stand there. While Robin and I both were screaming, the noise coming from Elizabeth was different. It was terror. Robin and I were wildly trying to save ourselves while Elizabeth was frozen, except for twitching. And my kids were like, she was frozen. How was she twitching? So it was just kind of like mild twitching, just like not really moving, where we were flailing and going bonkers, right? So she just had some mild twitching, right? She really wasn't moving much at all. It was crazy. So wanted to clarify that for my reader there. And then I want to come back up here where I switched from, so initially I was calm, then I got scared, and now I am panicked, right? Okay, so I want to give you a better picture of what's going out of me, what's going on with me. So sweat poured out of me like I had just run a marathon on a hot July day, right? I mean, I was dripping sweat all of a sudden, even though it was like October. I was pouring sweat, which was strange. And so I want you to have that image of someone just dripping sweat, even though it was October, because it was panic sweat, right? Totally different. All right. Moving on. So you would read through yours word by word to kind of see if there's a better word there. Again, do not change every word, okay? Just some, okay, here and there, just to enhance and give your reader a better story. So here, after running into Elizabeth's house to get her mom, I ran back to Robin. Robin and I tried to get the hose off its hook. Here, we weren't like just trying to like get it off, right? We were trying to like heave, trying to heave the hose off the hook. Like we were like pulling and tugging and fighting with it, but it was just too much for us, right? So I think saying heave there gives a better image for you of the like difficulty of us trying to pull it off, and it was just stuck. Too much for us. All right, down here in red, right? We've talked about this a lot this year, right? Covered in cardinal red whelps. Changing my color words. Color words, adjectives are easy ones to enhance to either describe something else that has that specific color or just adding a different word for that. Those are easy places to make some switches. Okay. All right, moving on. In my story, yep, down here. And slide 36, this is at the end, right? So I started calm, then I was scared, then I was panicked, and now I'm relieved, okay? So, and I've described this here, but I just want to kind of go over this change in these emotions. You think about your plot roller coaster, your rising action, your climax, your falling action, your resolution. Your emotions change during that time too. So a few days later, I was able to visit my dear friend Elizabeth. This time, she was languishing in bed covered with pink lotion and whelps. While I was sad to see her looking so pitiful, I was, I'm going to add this here, relieved and grateful that she was going to make it. We all learned a valuable lesson that day. Always respect nature and never put your foot in a hole. So boys and girls, again, this is something, it's just meant to enhance your writing. This is something you should always do when you're writing. You write your story, you write your essay, you write some kind of long response, some application to college, to your big scholarships. You write your stories that are going to make you a famous author one day before you come back and visit Miss Galera's classroom. And then you kind of put it to the side and you go do something else. Maybe you go fold the laundry for your mom and dad. Maybe you sweep the kitchen without being asked. Maybe you go check the mailbox. Maybe you go work a puzzle with your baby brother, baby sister, right? You go do something else and then you come back and you visit your story again. Maybe it's 20 minutes later, maybe it's the next day, maybe it's a couple days, right? But you visit that story again and you just kind of tweak it. You make little bitty changes, and that is what makes a great writer, and that's what makes a great story, which all of you have and all of you are. So I'm so excited to continue working on this with you, boys and girls, as we continue down this path, and I can't wait to read more of it. Take care, guys.